Last year, someone told me that sourdough can save your life. So, last winter, for 4 months, for 4 days a week, I left my apartment at 4 in the morning, and I pulled on my big black marshmallow jacket that is standard issue if you're a woman and you live in New York, and I grabbed my blowtorch and I headed out into the snowpocalypse that was last winter to deliver bread. And if you go out at a certain time in the morning, you'll notice that you actually are able to catch all the lights. They turn sequentially, and every 6 seconds, another one turns green, as though they are turning green for you. As though the street hardware is beckoning you forward. And because it's winter, you can see through the ice and the slush on the ground how many cars, how many vehicles, and how many people have been traveling that route before you. It's made visible something that is often invisible, which is how goods and people move throughout the city. So what happens while you are sleeping in this city that doesn't? And how did your morning pastry arrive at your favorite coffee shop that you have finally taught your usual order? So at 4 in the morning, there are 2 types of trucks that are delivering things. The first is newspapers, and you'll see the large yellow New York Post trucks. They like to drive the wrong way up one-way streets and park in about the center with the music blaring while they hurl packets of paper with big words on the front to the entryways of bodegas. And then you have the trucks that are delivering bread. These are often large, white, unmarked vans. And the windows are all foggy because the bread inside is still releasing its steam. And I call these people bread mules. And what we do is we take alternate side streets, and then we go and we double park and we throw the hazards on, and then you go to the back and you grab the right plastic crate of very expensive bread, and you walk up to the shop, and then you select the key, the correct key from the keychain, and then you remember that you have a blowtorch. You need that blowtorch to de-ice the lock. Okay. And then after you de-ice the lock, take that out, take the pin out, throw up the metal gate, then you unlock the inner door, slightly nudge your way in, don't turn the lights on, that gives you added credit, slide the bread in, and then leave. Because you see, there are fronts and backs to restaurants. And I've always known this, I've always known that in the back, there's the kitchen, and that's where the food comes from, and it comes toward you by smiling, beautiful servers holding lovely things on plates. But then go out past them and past the host that you gave your name to when you walked in. Go back outside. There's a door to the side that's unmarked, and things arrive there in the morning. And you know those dark metal squares on the sidewalk? They clang when you walk over them? Those are called cellar doors, and those open up at 4 in the morning. They always open out into the sidewalk for your safety as passersby. And so what you do is you climb in with that expensive plastic crate of bread, and you walk down the stairs, and then you deposit the focaccia and the savory scones with blue cheese and those bowls of sourdough deep inside the heart of the restaurant. And then you climb back out. And you're usually only underground for about a minute, but sometimes you come back up and the street has changed. And all of my friends asked me why I was delivering bread at 4 in the morning. I said, that's the time that you deliver bread. And they said, do you ever feel scared? And I said, well, there is this stretch down on Delancey because, let's be honest, we all know that on a weekend, a certain hour, the Lower East Side will hail anything that moves. But really the true test for me was when there was a new place on the route. And maybe you've been there. It was a new restaurant then, last March, and it's on the lower level of a museum that's up on 75th Street. It didn't have a name. This is way before they had opened. Didn't have a name yet, and then when they opened, they still didn't have a name. And I would walk in, and I would walk down the stairs, and I would put the crate full of bread on the long stainless steel counter. And then I would notice that, in fact, there were still some bowls and some focaccia and some savory scones left there from the day before, and it made me really sad. Because I thought, here I am, 4 in the morning, and I'm the one jumping over ice curbs, doing the chicken dance to wake the night guard up so he'll open the door and let me into the museum, and no one is going to eat this bread. It's just going to sit here because there were only a couple of slices missing. The chef was working through the menu. But the chef was doing what good chefs do. They test their vendors for consistency to make sure it's going to be the same thing that shows up day after day after day. And I would go back to the bakery and I would hang up the heavy keychain and I would feel sort of sad. And then I would remember that the baker had said to me, sourdough can save your life. And I would look around then, and just like right now, all over New York City, dough is rising. It's been punched down, it's rising again, and it's waiting for us to cart it and carry it through bridges and tunnels, side alleys and cellar doors. Restaurants will open, bread will be served tomorrow, and we will eat together. And as one of the saved, I can tell you that 4 a.m. is one of the best times to see New York City. It's green lights all the way down. Thank you.